5 minutes is almost nothing, so I'll just
Now it's
try
down
to
to
jump
three,
toward
actually.
So I just want to give you a couple of quick examples and then try to go to what the question asks. I did a steward training down in Cincinnati for some workers who work at a Xerox distribution center. I mean, most Xerox machines are not made in this country, but the only way they can keep the Made in America label is if they're shipped to a distribution center and then shipped out from there so that they keep the Made in America. I did steward training with 5 stewards. 3 out of the 5 stewards had their homes in foreclosure, and we're going to lose them.
Yeah.
And that's just a random example. We do leadership schools, 4-day leadership schools. One of the women that was in that leadership school, within 2 months of that leadership school, her plant had closed. 2 months after that, she was homeless, ended up living with her parents. About 4 months later, her parents were homeless, and so was she, and we could no longer find her. So, you know, that's, I think, what we're experiencing, what you're experiencing in our communities and whatnot. And, you know, to try to, we also sit on the board of directors of a museum down in Terre Haute. It's the Eugene V. Debs Museum. Eugene Debs was a leader of the workers of the railroad, right? Later on ran for president as a socialist. There, Julian Bond was getting an award. We have an annual award that we give to activists, and we gave it to Julian Bond. He made a note of, or a really, very strong case about the history of labor and civil rights. And he used an example of what we face today, and I'm sure you've all heard it. It's about 2 men walking down by a river, and they're conversing and talking. And sooner or later, 1 minute left. Sooner or later, a baby comes floating on a basket, and they jump in the river and pull the baby out. And then they continue their walk up the river with the baby in hand. Sooner or later, another baby comes down the river, and they jump again into the river. This happens several times, and then finally, the next baby who comes down, one man jumps in the river, and the other runs up the river. He starts running. The other guy in the river says, "Where are you going?" He says, "You save that baby. I'm going to find out who's throwing the babies in the river."
Here, here.
And that's what we need to do, is figure out what are the reasons these things are happening and not just try to save the babies. We need to save the babies. We need to save the people in poverty. We need to save the jobs. But the fundamental cause is the structure that this country was founded upon, the stealing of the lands of the indigenous people,
Here, here.
free labor in the form of slavery,
Here, here.
and the repression of women, the repression of workers. We've battled for 60, 70 years to try to overcome those differences that were established in economic and later on in political differences. That's been taken away from us over the last 30 or 40 years, and if we don't figure out a way to solve and figure out who's throwing the babies in the water, and I think